Welcome to Global Arakan Network Borderland News. From July 12 to 18, among the interesting news stories of this week, we will be presenting reports including the news smugglers attempting to illegally transport goods into Myanmar arrested with large quantities of cement and fertilizer. The UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, is investigating reports that 2 boats carrying Muslims from the Arakan may have sunk in the Bay of Bengal. The news about a former U.S. Navy officer has been arrested at the India-Nepal border, raising questions about possible links with the Arakan Army, AA. The news Bangladesh Border Guard, BGB, has tightened security near the Bangladesh border following the emergence of a new armed group called KPF and the WARE. After the Arakan Army, AA, seized control of Maungdaw, the Bangladesh Border Guard, BGB, stated that Myanmar's central government no longer has authority or influence over the border area, along with other interesting news items. July 13th, Subir Alam Sujon, deputy commander and spokesperson of the Bangladesh Coast Guard, announced that intelligence reports indicated a group of smugglers was preparing to illegally transport fertilizer and limestone into Myanmar using counterfeit sacks labeled with the Bangladesh Agricultural Development Corporation (BADC) brand. As a result, surveillance and patrol operations were intensified in the offshore waters of Chittagong. At around 5 p.m. on July 13th, the Coast Guard's Patenga station carried out a special operation in the Chittagong offshore area. During the operation, 3 suspicious cargo boats were intercepted. Authorities seized approximately 2,400 sacks of limestone worth about 1.4 million Bangladeshi taka, 250 sacks of diammonium phosphate (DAP) fertilizer packed with fake BADC labels, 3 boats used for smuggling, and arrested 22 smugglers. On July 14th, the UN Refugee Agency, UNHCR, announced that it is investigating reports that 2 boats carrying Muslims who had departed from the Arakan may have sunk in the Bay of Bengal. According to UNHCR, the 2 boats left western Myanmar's Rakhine state in late June and are believed to have sunk afterward in the Bay of Bengal. The exact number of Muslim passengers on board and the precise locations of the sinking remain unknown. We are deeply concerned about possible loss of life and continue efforts to verify detailed information about the incident, UNHCR stated. Currently, around 1.2 million stateless Muslims live in Bangladesh under dire conditions in overcrowded refugee camps. During Myanmar military operations in 2017, thousands of Muslims were killed and hundreds of thousands fled to Bangladesh. Those who remain in Myanmar face severe restrictions, including limits on movement, and most remain confined to camps. International aid has been reduced. Support in Bangladesh's refugee camps has been cut, and ongoing armed conflict in the Arakan has worsened the situation for Muslims. As a result, many attempt dangerous sea journeys in overcrowded boats to Malaysia. Reports indicate that thousands, including pregnant women, have died during these voyages. Regional maritime authorities have often failed to rescue Muslim boats in distress and have ignored calls for help. According to the Associated Press, UNHCR emphasized that rescuing those in danger at sea is both a humanitarian duty and a long-established obligation under international maritime law. Therefore, the agency urged governments to strengthen search and rescue operations and called on regional authorities and the international community to take more effective action to address the perilous journeys undertaken by Muslims. In 2025, more than 6,500 Muslims fled by boat, with nearly 900 dead or missing. UNHCR said 2025 was the deadliest year in the history of Muslim maritime migration. with this route becoming one of the most fatal migration pathways used by refugees worldwide. In 2026, over 5,400 Muslims fled by boat, with about 540 dead or still missing, according to UNHCR data. At the India-Nepal border, former U.S. Navy officer Jordan Brown was arrested for traveling without a passport or visa. According to the Rohingya Press Network, RPN, this incident raises the need to investigate whether there are connections between Brown and secret foreign networks that have allegedly been providing military and drone technology, training to armed groups in Myanmar, including the Arakan Army, AA, at a time when Muslims in Rakhine State continue to face human rights violations such as killings and forced displacement. The emergence of suspicious activities by foreign military experts, alongside the AA's military control, has drawn attention, foreign governments, and security agencies are therefore urged to thoroughly investigate and expose these secret networks in a transparent manner, and to take steps to prevent further involvement. Bangladesh. Border Guard (BGB) has tightened security near the Bangladesh border following the emergence of a new armed group called KPF on June 7 this year. Bangladesh authorities repatriated 47 Myanmar nationals from the hill road of Wailang Kongthi in Thanchi Township, Bandarban District. They were not Muslims, but Kumi ethnic people from Paletwa in Chin State, Myanmar, about 18 kilometers from the Bangladesh border. They had fled across the border into Bandarban on June 5th due to pressure from the Arakan Army AA. 2 days later, the Bangladesh Border Guard (BGB) sent them back. However, what concerns BGB more than these unarmed Kumi refugees is the emergence of an armed Kumi group. To protect Kumi communities in Paletwa from AA's domination, the Kumi National Congress Party, KNCP, a political organization based in Paletwa, formed its own armed wing called the Kumi People's Force, KPF. This group began operating along border areas in February this year. On May 25th, they sent a letter to BGB requesting permission to move freely near the Bangladesh border to strengthen their activities. In the letter, they stated they did not intend to threaten Bangladesh but wanted to build friendly relations. BGB, however, gave no response. Instead, BGB has taken a firm stance, declaring it will not accept any foreign armed group and has strictly blocked their activities. Investigations into KPF's presence near the border began in Thanchi Township, Bandarban. Locals said they had heard the name but never seen the group directly. Through a trusted source, investigators traveled to border post number 72, believed to be near armed group activity. After a difficult journey through mountains, forests, and rivers, they reached the area and found an abandoned AA camp. With the help of a local, they eventually met 3 KPF members. When asked why they wanted to come near the Bangladesh border, one member explained that AA's growing influence in Paletwa forced minority groups to take up arms for survival. They insisted their aim was not to enter Bangladesh, but to remain along the border. BGB, however, refuses to view KPF's activities as harmless. Allowing foreign armed groups to establish bases or routes near the border could pose a serious threat to Bangladesh's national security. Not all Kumi people crossing into Bangladesh are armed, but armed members could mix among civilians. For this reason, BGB has tightened military security along the entire border and continues patrols and surveillance. Deputy Commander Sabvia Alam Sujan, spokesperson for Bangladesh Border Guard (BGB), told Nikkei Asia that in December 2024, after the Arakan army, AA, seized Mongdao and strengthened its control over the border areas, there were significant changes in the security situation. He explained, although Bangladesh maintains official diplomatic relations with the military council government in Naypyidaw, in reality the situation is completely different. Myanmar's central government has no authority or administrative influence over the border areas. He added, this administrative vacuum has led to increased instability in the region. In addition, there has been a sharp rise in the abduction of Bangladeshi fishermen, cross-border smuggling of weapons and narcotics, the possibility of rivals, and the ongoing danger from landmines and unexploded ordnance buried along the border. According to BGB operational data, since late 2024 when AA took control of Myanmar's border areas, at least 426 Bangladeshi fishermen from the Naf River and Bay of Bengal have been detained. Of these, 324 were safely repatriated in stages, but the rest remain in captivity. Savia Alamsujan stated, this has created a more complex challenge for Bangladesh's security forces to guarantee border security and protect civilians living in the border region. Media reports indicate that armed men believed to be AA members often abduct civilians in border areas and then contact their families to demand ransom payments. Retired Bangladeshi Major General Amsar Kawap Hussain said, the Arakan army is abducting fishermen to demand ransom as a way to raise funds. Since they took control of Rakhine state, smuggling of narcotics and weapons into Bangladesh has increased. AA is doing this to finance its military operations.